Okay, this video is to provide information about the data set that I've provided to you. This compiled data for 2021 from the VAERS data set and from the VAERS VAX data set. So these are two different files that I had to use in order to compile this data. I will show you quickly first where I got the data from. VAERS stands for Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, otherwise known as vaccine injuries. And this is where people can go. They click here and they can report an incident. Both professionals in the healthcare industry, doctors, nurses, and others can report here, or individuals can report here. So if you click on the About, you can read all about that. And then somewhere in the About area, I read something that the severe cases, then the VAERS people that are behind this from the CDC and the NIH and those institutions are supposed to be contacting people who have severe reactions because they want to do a follow-up and gather more information about it. So anyway, okay, we're going to go in here to the data set, and I just want to show you where I pulled this from. I scroll down. I chose the raw data. This one up here is a system where you can do the sorting and manipulating the data with their system, but I chose to choose the download with Excel. So these are, they call them CSV files, but they're downloaded using, opened up using Excel. You can use other databases to open them and manipulate the data, but we're going to use Excel today. So here's what I downloaded: 2021, this one, that's the VAERS data, and the VAERS vaccine, this one. Now I had to open both, and I'll show you the two of them. Here's the one that's the VAX data, VAERS VAX. This provides the identification number. So there's a new identification number in the VAERS system for every single reporting. So when people go here in the report, it creates a new number for them. So that's this number. And every database they have has that number on the left-hand side. And so when someone goes in and they report, they click on this guy and they go in here to report, maybe online or in PDF. You'll see just a bunch of form fields they fill in, and it takes, I was told it takes almost 45 minutes to fill this out. There's just question after question. You keep hitting next. And here's something that's worth noting is that they point out that reporting false information, if you put misleading information in here, intentionally falsified data in here, it is punishable by fine. I went and looked up this code 18, US 18 code 101, and it said it's up to 5 years in prison, which means that's a felony. That's just worth noting. But anyway, so for some reason, when you're going through hitting next, and as people report this, for some reason they break it out into two different databases. They don't just give it all the data into one database. I don't know why, but that's why I had to do some compiling and make my own database, because here's one of theirs. It gives this information. It says, okay, according to this number that was reported, that person reported they took the COVID, or the doctor, whoever it is reporting it, Moderna. Here's the vaccine lot number, the dose, and so forth. In this case, it was the Moderna version of the COVID-19. Then the other one shows, so for the same VAX number, ID, So here it is. Now, the received date, what state it was given, what the age was the patient. So I don't know why they don't make a database with all of that data all the way across and just keep going. But I compiled it. So here's the symptoms, and then the died column. It doesn't show. I'll show you in the next one. It's just because this is there's so much writing here, it just overwrites these columns right here. So I took this database, I inserted, I added a row here, a column, and so here's mine. And I wanted to know the type, vaccine type, and the manufacturer right here. And then I moved the died data over here so we could see it clearly. And so I ended up taking all of that data, bringing it over. Now I sorted it by vaccine type, because if you look right here, you're going to see it's more than just the COVID. I wanted to narrow it down just to the COVID vaccine. But you can see here, FLU, that stands for flu right here, influenza vaccine. We've got some down here, look at this one, the rotavirus vaccine, pneumonia vaccine. And so there's a variety, there's more than just coronavirus. And if you scroll down, you'll see they're in here. The majority are coronavirus. But I wanted to filter those out. So I did so. And so if I click on this cell, hold down my control key and hit the down arrow, it takes me to the bottom of my database. So here's the very bottom. Notice now it's all just COVID. I deleted off, I don't know, I think there might have been a couple thousand that were other vaccines, but the vast majority were COVID reportings in 2021. So here we are. There are a total of 736,037 reportings in this database, and those would be considered vaccine injuries related to the vaccine. Now, the next thing I sorted it by, I'm going to hold down Control and hit Home to bring me back up to the top. The next thing that I sorted it by was died. I wanted to split these up top, and then I sorted it by age. So if I scroll down and watch this, now if I were just to try to figure out where the Y's stop and it becomes zeros or blank, meaning that they did not die, if I just hold down my page down, watch, I hit page down, and you see it goes down to 9. Hit page down again, it goes down 13, 19. So I mean, if I just held this down, it'd probably take me a half an hour to get down to the bottom. Because look at this. After sitting here for 10 seconds, it's only down to 1,000. We need to get down to 700,000 if I wanted to scroll down. So rather than waiting and just holding down and waiting until the Y's stop, I'm going to go over here and grab this handlebar and pull down. Now I'm going to pull very slowly. Notice it says 2,600, okay, and it still says Y over here. I'm looking over here until the Y's stop. So I go down a little bit more. I don't want to go too far. Okay, I'm at 6,500. It still says Y. Let's see, I got down to 16,000. So the Y's stop at 16,822 on this row. All right, so that means this database has 16,822 reportings of people who have died after taking the vaccine. And I'm guessing, geez, with 16,000, I'm not sure how much they're able to follow up, how quickly they're able to follow up, but in the About section and some of the sections of the site, the VAERS site, somewhere in here it says that they're supposed to follow up for any of the severe reactions or, the very severe, which would be, I'm guessing death would be included in the severe reactions. So let's go back here. Then what I want to do is I want to see then how many other that were non-death reported that were injuries. And so what I'm going to do is just remember this, 16,822, then do a control, 16,822, control, down arrow, and get down to the bottom. And I'm going to type in that 16,822, and I'm going to type in this number, 736,037. And I want to get a wide cell so I can see it. Equals the total minus these that were the deaths. And so, well, it's not giving me an answer. Oh, there it is, 719,000. So there were 16,822 reported deaths and 719,000 reported other injuries that they say were related to the vaccine. Now, let's go back up, control home, and let's just talk about the data. Then I sorted it by age. You might say, well, how could someone who's only less than a year old, 0.42 being about 5 months, roughly 5-month-old. So how's that possible? Kids aren't supposed to be vaccinated that young. So let's read this. It says, patient received second dose of Pfizer vaccine on March 17th while at work. So that's an adult. And then we've got March 18th, the next day, her 5-month-old breastfed infant developed a rash and within 24 hours was inconsolable, refusing to eat, and developed a fever. Patient brought baby to the local ER. Assessments were performed. Blood analysis revealed elevated liver enzymes. Infant was hospitalized but continued to decline and pass away. Diagnosis of TTP. You can look that up using Google, and it has something to do with blood clotting, I believe. No known allergies, no new exposures aside from the mother's vaccine the previous day. So they attributed the baby's death to the vaccine. So I'm guessing the 1-year-old must have similar, must be something similar. Maybe it has to do with breastfeeding. 5-year-old, let's see here. Then we got a 7-year-old, 11, 12, 13. And, you can scroll down. And it's interesting, read quite a few, just spend some time and read through these. Because you can obviously see that some of them were put in by a lay person, meaning someone who's not a professional in the medical industry. And then other ones, by the language that's used, you can see that it was definitely put in by either a doctor or a nurse, someone who's trained in the medical field because of the terminology that they used. So it's a variety of reportings. And to get a good feel of the descriptions, these are the deaths, the whys, but it's also good to go down and just kind of get a feel and just spend some time reading the people who didn't die and see what their reactions or their injuries were. So just something to get a good feel for it. All right, so I'm not going to spend any more time on this. This was just an explanation of the database that I have and that I'm providing to you. The next video will talk about how to manipulate the data, these large chunks of data.